Yeah. Wonderful. Good. I'm glad for you.
Oh, we're live now. All right. If you're listening, this is, I guess no one's watching. I'm listening because I can see the number of viewers. So, screw you guys. Though we did do it an hour earlier than we said we were, and I just put the links up like 5 minutes ago. So, either way, you know.
Are we live?
Oh, yeah, we're live right now, so.
Huh. All right.
You can curse whoever you want. No one's watching. I have the number of viewers at the bottom right, and it's firm at 0.
Well, I mean, you know, 0 is good in some things.
I suppose it is. I'm gonna text Andrew and the computer. So I got Spotify this week, and
how's that working out?
I don't know. I'm trying, like I'm playing it right now through my iPhone, and it's not obviously it's a cool little streaming service, but if I have the music I want, why would I want this? I can't get to, no one's talked to. I'm like, well, I've got music I want, and I put the songs I want on my iPhone, and I walk around. No one's explaining to me why this is better than just having a pocket full of music.
Yeah, like honestly, I understand Pandora's business strategy a little more because you get new music related to your music. Spotify.
It's so strange.
I don't know.
Because I guess so when I upload it on my computer, there's like I guess Andrew's gonna be here in 2 minutes. He likes to just live on the edge. So when I upload it on my computer, it's like pulling all local files. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I realized I could make playlists out of my local files, which I could always do on iTunes, but I guess like now I can share them. But my bigger question is, there's certain files that I have in my iTunes that aren't going to be on the Spotify like lists, I guess.
The database or whatever.
Yeah, like I've got like lives and like not like that much of a hipster. Like I've got like mixtapes that don't have the tracks on there. It's like there's 2 crit CDs on there. I'm like, well, there's 7 mixtapes. I'm like, this is hamstringing me from making a decent playlist. And so, first of all, I've given this way too much thought.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're kind of overanalyzing it here.
Well, I just want to know why I'm using it. Is it to share a playlist? If it's just a social thing, then that's fine. I would happily make a playlist. But like, the local player is weird because like there's like 4 songs, there's probably more than 4 songs, but there's songs that I cannot get to play on my local player, but they play on my
iTunes,
or on my they play on Spotify on my phone. But I can't get to play on my local Spotify, which makes no goddamn sense to me. The whole thing is basically a clusterfuck, and I'll figure it out. Yeah.
So I already know the highest and best use for this.
What is it?
You share the walk-up music for the 32 draftees from the first round.
I don't want those songs anywhere affiliated with me. Those songs are terrible.
I hadn't seen the list yet, actually.
Oh, you haven't seen the list? All right, let's go into the chat because we're talking about that. So.
All right.
I linked it in the live blog, you dickhead.
On the what?
On the live blog, yeah.
I didn't click links, man. I
don't click links. I don't give click-throughs, man. Let's see. Hold on, it's on here somewhere. That Dawson gif made the live blog, I think.
The what?
Crying Dawson gif?
Yeah. I mean, you can never go wrong with Crying Dawson. I like,
let's see.
I didn't realize until I sent it yesterday that you had sent the hate in that live blog too. I was like, well, I guess he kind of got me by using the exact same thing I used last night. That's okay. Yeah. I was like, that's a pointed response. Hate you. I know your guts. I know you and I hate your guts. Yeah, I was a little pissed off that was supposed to be a GIF and not just a JPG. But
I don't know. Thank you. You can just the word picture. I don't know if are you going hard G on GIF now? Is that a decision you made?
Apparently that's like the formal way to do it.
Yeah, because everything when I say the word Chad Floyd, I think the word formal. That's why that explains everything. Yeah. Zaga. I mean, it's kind of. I mean, honestly, I shared like Dungeon Family playlist yesterday, and Oh God, it's Andrew. All right, Drew. I put out links for the live, but no one's watching yet. So I'm gonna pretend that you're watching when we totally the podcast, but there's totally no one. Just recognize there's no one watching. I've been live for like we'll call it 5 minutes now, so you have to edit some of this, obviously.
I was really hoping you would say 5 hours.
I've just been up here tirelessly since 6 a.m.
Yeah, we've talked about Spotify for a while, but Palmer's basically projected out the whole draft through round 7 at this point.
I don't. There's only one way for this to end. I'm pretty much every other character in the Da Vinci Code novel. Do you use Spotify, Andrew, before we get started the podcast? No, screw you, Chad. This is important. I got talked into this, and unless someone can give me a viable reason that this technology is not only salient but like important, then I'm gonna stop my $10 a month payment, and I'm gonna.
What, you're paying for it?
Well, I signed up for premium, so you can use. Well, no, hold on. First of all, dickheads, like, everybody relax. The first month's free, and so I'm using the trial month. And if inside 30 days I can't find a use for this technology, then I'm going to dump it. Andrew,
Fair enough.
Back to my original question before I got judged. Andrew, do you use Spotify?
I don't.
Damn it.
I don't.
I need someone who actually uses it to defend it for me, because right now it feels awfully useless.
The closest I can even say is I've got the Pandora Premium, because one time we had like an office party and they wanted a music playlist, so I just paid for it, and I've had it for like 3.5 years. I don't think I've used it, but it's on the office credit card, so I'm not worried.
Isn't that like $99 a month?
That's how apps work. You just buy them and then you never think about them again.
Yeah. So the business model works. We need to do
obvious.
Hey, you skip commercials though, so you got that going for you.
Which is nice. All right, so we're gonna get started with no one watching or listening or whatever, however that works.
So what's your timestamp at, like, for editing purposes?
Timestamp. I have no idea. I guess. Okay. Oh no, I can click on the link. Hold on, we're about to get real fucking advanced here.
Hold that thought. I'm refilling coffee.
Oh, good. We'll wait on Chad Floyd to start. So.
By the way, please tell me you read Shaq Wiggins' statement.
No. Will you read it? No, yes. Don't. I want to read it live on the blog. Okay, so
okay.
Just so you know, right now we're at 7 minutes. I clicked on the YouTube to see simulcast. Right now we're at 7 minutes, so I guess drag to 7.
Should I tweet out the link? How do I? Can you send me the link? How do I do it?
Yeah. I'll put it in the chat. Live link for sharing. All right, so I've got your lightning round questions, and man, they are doozies.
All right.
I'm pretty excited about this. I'm going to start building games into
the runaround.
Okay, we're going to stop dicking with the name too, dickhead.
He was kidding about that. We're not.
I appreciate that.
How's the new house?
How are the new digs?
That's good. I'm in the new house right now. I have internet. Pretty big time.
It's a big move for you.
Yeah, I had internet at the old house.
Is that an office / bonus?
Yeah, I got a little office going. You can see the autographed Ryan Leaf behind me. I see. Also, to his right, Michael Olowokandi and Kwame Brown. So
you like draft busts, apparently.
The wall of shame right there, baby.
Did you just call Olowokandi a bust? How dare you?
That's a compliment.
How dare you?
The Candyman, baby.
I think you are.
I like on PTI yesterday, they were reading the Greg Oden comments on how he's going to go down as one of the biggest busts, and they said, he's not going to be a bust. His body failed him. I was like, a bust? And then they say, no, Michael Olowokandi a bust. Greg Oden was just an unfortunate set of circumstances. A bust.
It's a bust.
Yeah.
All right, so I just thought of a fourth topic for the speed round. So we're going to do that, or lightning round, whatever the hell I'm trying to call it. I'll get us started. You guys ready to go?
Let's do it.
Chad, you ready?
Yep, just walking around.
Just walking around. That's. Why don't you just say, no, I'm not ready yet? How about that? Not quite.
I mean, I am ready. I was ready.
Jesus Christ.
Crap, I forgot to get a draft up song ready. Oh well.
Just a bunch of amateur hour over here.
I know.
All right.
Yep.
Welcome to DYP Podcast. This is the roundup for May 10th. We are back in the pod lair. We've first and foremost, all of us here at Duty Crazy want to wish a happy Mother's Day to anyone listening to this who has children, especially our mothers, particularly mine, who I'm really sorry about everything so far, but I promise I'll get better. I'm Daniel Palmer. I'm, of course, joined by Andrew Hall and Chad Floyd. What's going on, fellas?
Hey, what's up?
Chad?
Nice little Saturday hangover. Cheers.
Nice little Saturday hangover. I want to thank anyone and everyone who's clicked on the link to watch us live. Right now we're at a number I'm not going to read out loud. So thanks for joining in for the first experimental live podcast. These usually be at 12, but there is draft things to do today, and so we push it to 11. All right, so let's get right into it. This is like I said, this is the roundup, so we go over the sports topics of the week. And of course, because it's this week and because nothing else happened prior to Thursday night, it's draft talk. We had the draft, the live blog going for round one. Chad, Andrew, I got to get your first round one thoughts. Like, what did you guys leave Thursday night thinking as far as yourselves and everything that happened?
I'm taking this, Chad. You can wait. I left thinking what great television it was. I mean, I really thought at some points that Gruden was going to come to blows with both Kuiper and Ray Lewis. I liked his odds against Kuiper, but not so much against Ray Ray. Good TV. You had the Manziel drama, which kept everybody glued to the action. I mean, just watching his spirit die on national television was kind of disheartening. It got to a point where I was really just hoping a team with a cool jersey would draft him so I could buy that jersey, but I'm not buying a Browns jersey, let's be honest.
How is Manziel going to make the Browns jersey look cool? Like, you know he's going to do it. He's going to find a way, but I don't. It's a tough road to hoe. And by the way, if you think me saying Chad and Andrew and then making you two fight over who's going to talk first wasn't a plan on my behalf, you're absolutely Chad,
I just feel bad for Jaguars fans. I don't know if Jaguars fans exist, but I feel terrible for them.
If I knew a Jaguars fan, I'd feel bad for him, but I don't. So.
I know one, and
he's a liar.
As soon as Bortles was announced, there were just 26 expletives across his Twitter, across his Facebook, everything. He hates his life, and I guess that's kind of part of the self-loathing you would pay as a Jaguars fan, but poor guys, man.
Yeah, I don't get the Bortles pick at all. Palmer, can you defend it?
I wanted, first of all, to pat myself on the back for not making any untoward remarks about his girlfriend on the live blog. That was a lot of restraint by me. And I don't want to throw this word around loosely, but I think I'm a hero. The Bortles pick, I can't defend. It feels like an upgrade from the Tebow pick they could have made a couple years ago. Pick the local kid. There's a built-in kind of fan base, built-in following. UCF's made some noise, but now UCF is a top 3 draft pick, and that's a world I don't like living in. No, I can't defend the Bortles. I can't defend the Bortles pick. I don't think he's a first-round draft pick, first of all. I think he's got the prototypical height and arm strength, but when you look at what he's done in the pocket, it reminds you an awful lot of Blaine Gabbert, and I think those are the last words you want to hear as a Jacksonville fan.
If the best thing you can say about a guy is that he looks like a quarterback, that's not a compliment. I mean, I think you could catch me in the right scenario, and I would look like a quarterback, especially if I wasn't throwing a football.
I do not think of a scenario where you could be described as looking like a quarterback. I've met you.
I'm drawing.
I look like a quarterback. Chad looks like a quarterback right now.
You can say it, but it doesn't make it true. Chad kind of does. Chad's got like a poor man's Aaron Murray thing going on with the Georgia hat and the very disaffected look on his face. Maybe that's just
aren't big enough to be a quarterback.
Maybe that's just the hangover. All right, so moving on, more draft stuff.
I would get Bridgewater right out of the draft.
I'll be making Bridgewater jokes later. Did anyone watch day 2?
Yeah,
a little bit. Day 2. I saw Murray's girlfriend on TV.
Her name is Casey McDonald, and she does the weather here in Philadelphia, first of all. Very lovely lady. So you guys sat there and watched the last two rounds?
A little bit of it, not the whole thing.
It was on TV in the background.
That's fair.
I like what the Buccaneers have done. They've gone skill position all 3 rounds, but Mike Evans, Safarian Jenkins, and then that running back from Houston and West Virginia.
I'm just happy that the Falcons got an offensive tackle and they shored up some things in the defense. I don't want anything flashy. I want a linebacker sometime today at some point. But beyond that, I'm happy with what the Falcons have done. Andrew,
I like the Hegman pick. I do.
Andrew, who's your pro team?
I mean, I really don't have one. I'm kind of a Falcons fan by default. I've always had an interest in Green Bay just because my grandmother went to Southern Miss. So I was a Brett Favre fan before Brett Favre was a thing. So it's the most roundabout allegiance you can imagine. But so there's that.
That is very inexact, but almost feels kind of scientific. All right, so Chad, I know you're a Ravens fan. What do you think of what Ozzie Newsome and company have done so far?
Mosley, I like it, but we've had some trouble with Alabama players in the past. I
think that's more of an isolated thing you can say as a pattern.
Yeah, I don't think correlation necessarily proves causation there. Timmy Jernigan in the second round, though, love it.
Chad Floyd loves stealing my catchphrases. All right, so let's move on from the draft. That's pretty good. We'll get back into it later with the lightning round. But NBA playoffs, I know that all three of us have gotten appropriately geeked up. The second round started a little slower with some blowouts. Did everyone watch the Durant MVP speech?
Yeah.
Andrew, what'd you think?
Well, I'm not going to lie. The first one I watched was it was only 90% of the speech, and I was just sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, he left out Russ. I was like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. And then I watched the full cut, it went from 15 minutes to 17, and he ends with, and I can't forget Russ. But no, I thought it was great. I mean, it was the anti-Michael Jordan Hall of Fame speech. If you want to say that he's just too nice of a guy and this and that, all the players out there, or all the haters out there that think he's a player that's just too soft and doesn't quite have that dagger mentality in him, this is going to certainly spur that argument just in the way that he's so unbelievably gracious. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think he can be one way receiving an award and a different way on the court.
I agree. If you think he's not doesn't have a killer instinct, you haven't watched the end of Thunder games this year at all. Chad, what do you think about the speech?
We're all playing for silver medal on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
That's all I've got.
Damn you, Kevin Durant, for raising the bar. I hadn't even thought about that.
Actually, because I know my Mother's Day card is going to come in late, I linked that in an email to my mom. I said, "You're the MVP, Mom. She's the MVP."
And ladies and gentlemen, we have the high bar and the low bar set for Mother's Day.
Yep.
High bar being MVP speech, low bar being Chad Floyd's email. Low
bar being Chad Floyd sending that email as an excuse to have a late Mother's Day card.
Don't qualify.
It's not good.
It's funny.
It's not good.
I thought that the speech was great. I thought it was interesting. A lot of people were like, "This is what we need more of in the NBA." I mean, did these people miss LeBron's first one? He was just as affecting, just as emotional, and I think almost more emotional because he was surrounded by bums in Cleveland. There was no Russell. It was like, "Thank you, Mo Williams. Thank you, Broken Zadrunas Augustus."
Wait, were they the same bums in Cleveland that told what's his name to draft Johnny Manziel?
We'll get to that. Thank you for derailing everything again. I think that the people forgot about how affecting LeBron's work, because the last time we saw it was like, yeah, it's a great MVP. I really want another ring, and then it was kind of the over. And I think if you go before that, you get the Kobe speech, which was essentially the Jordan speech. They said I couldn't do it. I should have had more than this one. I'm happy I got this one, but really you guys screwed up and I give me more. I think that with LeBron and Durant kind of battling it out for MVPs for the foreseeable future, I think the league's in very good hands. I'm happy for my objectively favorite, my first love in sports. All right, so we're going to move forward to the playoffs. What do you guys think happens next? Are we just barreling towards Spurs Heat 2.0?
Yep.
Well, I can't argue with it.
Never mind. There's a topic, Burn.
Next.
I mean, I just don't feel like there's a compelling series going on outside of Clippers Thunder right now.
Okay, that's fair. That's very fair.
It's unfortunate after the first round.
I have a question, though. Do you think that either one of those teams can take the Spurs at distance? Because I'll be honest, right now, I think everyone's playing for it's playing for see who plays the Heat, because the East has literally fallen apart, clearing at Roy Hibbert. Like, it's gotten almost unwatchable. That Washington game last night was a rock fight, and I think that we're just kind of waiting to see who the Heat are going to play. I think the Heat are going to walk over the Nets. They're going to walk over the winner of Washington Pacers. Maybe the Pacers get some life breathed back into them because they get the spark competition, but I don't see it. Andrew, is there any way to derail this Heat train?
Only thing, I mean, Paul George is going to have to take Hibbert fishing several more times. Might even need to get some deep sea action going on. Maybe good noodling. But otherwise, I think the Heat are just going to roll. I don't see anybody on that side of the league even slowing them down.
How about the West, though? We've seen San Antonio for stretches, I guess, look vulnerable, and there's a great coaching duel in the first round with Carlisle. Is this a situation where it's just kind of like, oh, once again, Pop and Tim Duncan, they okey-doked everybody. They somehow backed into one of the best records in the NBA, and oh no, they saved Duncan's legs for the playoffs. And you're just going to run people off the court. Like, is this... Were we just getting the entire season with all the turmoil, all the talk of Kevin Durant, all the talk of the Clippers, and all potential contenders? Was it all just a smokescreen for the fact that the Spurs are still really, really good at basketball?
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at the Spurs, and the knock on the Spurs from a fan side all along is they play boring basketball, which I disagree with because I think they play good basketball, but they're not going to get the headlines of a team led by Chris Paul and Blake Griffin or a team led by Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook, an MVP bid by Durant. Talking about that series, I think the Clippers would have the better shot against the Spurs just because they play such a different game. But I think the Spurs are the better team.
And that's kind of where I stand, too, is I think the Clippers could take the Spurs to maybe 6 or so, but the Thunder is too, I would say one-dimensional, but two-dimensional with Westbrook and Durant. They don't have any other options. The Clippers at least can put 4 guys on the court that can score at one point. I think that would be a compelling series, but I really think the inevitable is Heat Spurs.
Okay, let's say we get there. Who do you guys see walking away with the chip? Are we going to be is the title staying in South Beach or going back to the Riverwalk?
I think it's going Riverwalk.
Wow, there it is, guys. Someone picked against the Heat. How about you, Andrew?
I'm staying in South Beach. I mean, you don't bet against Pop. I don't bet against LeBron anymore in the playoffs. So.
I think it's going to stay in South Beach. I think that but the only caveat I would say is that Popovich treated this regular season like just a giant like science fair experiment. Like if you watch the lineups he played, like he was preparing for the series in November. He was like, okay, well, sometimes it looks like Splitter won't be on the floor at all this entire series.
He started Marco Bellinelli at the 4 or 5 times this season.
Like honestly, it's like let's see what we can do with this because he knows his squad and he plays them well and he controls that locker room and that rotation. And I think it's going to be. I think we're in for some great basketball here for the finals. All right, we're going to go to a new segment that I'm trying out called the Lightning Round. I'm going to give nobody. There's no set time. We're alternating who goes first. You're going to argue your points, and I'm going to award a point at the end. All right, first things first. This one's good. First, we'll go to Andrew. Andrew, where does Aaron Murray fit best for teams in the draft?
At quarterback?
Seriously, what team do you think is a good landing spot for Aaron Murray?
It's cliche and almost too obvious, but I like him at the Saints a lot. I think he's always modeled his game after Breeze. He's been very vocal about that. He can go in there. They clearly don't have any issue with a slightly undersized quarterback who likes to get the ball out relatively quickly. I'd love to see him in New Orleans as much as I hate to see him playing against the Falcons if he develops into a Breeze light.
Congratulations on losing the first ever Lightning Round. Before Chad even speaks, Chad, I need to hear a team that's not the Saints.
And I would have said Saints. How about
God, everyone hates this thing.
How about Tampa Bay?
All right.
He's a much better quarterback than Mike Glennon. They've drafted 3 offensive weapons in the first 3 rounds. He's got Doug Martin, got a good running game.
He's from Tampa.
Offensive line to speak of, but you know what? That's a situation where he could step in and be the starter by week 6.
At bonus points, Lovie Smith said that Glennon's not his quarterback of the future, and no one knows the McCown boys can last more than a season playing effective football. So I think that's a really good pick. Personally, I think Arizona will be a great spot for him, if only because Carson Palmer's going to Carson Palmer. and Larry Fitzgerald is a great weapon to have. Secondly, I got to ask about the draft in general. I made a lot of jokes in the live blog, but Chad Floyd, would you go to the draft if you were a projected first-round draft pick?
Hell no. No.
Well,
Like, what's the best that can happen? You dap up Roger Goodell and have some terrible walk-up music, and you get to go out in New York, which is nice, I guess. But, I mean, you have to buy a nice, expensive suit. You have to sit with all these people talking on the phone. No, it's terrible. I'd rather be in my house being able to drink beer on the side and celebrate with my people at home.
Fair enough. Andrew Hall, same question.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, I side with Chad. Like, not only do I not want to be there, but I don't want a camera in my living room either. I want to do whatever the heck I want that night. At the same time, though, if push came to shove, I'd probably am all talk and I would end up being there.
Fair enough. As I posited on the blog, there's only decisions not to go. It makes no sense to go. Chad's right. Chad gets 2 points now. This is an early lead in the lightning round.
So how about if you
What are you doing, Chad?
if you last, I'm walking around.
Forever
If you last through the first round, you have to buy another suit to show up on Friday.
That's what gets me. Is like I literally was like, I think Teddy Bridgewater's gonna have to bring another suit. A young man got drafted. I forget who it was yesterday. He walked up in a cardigan and jeans. And I was like, well, he brought one suit.
Garoppolo with the thick pinstripes and
Yeah.
and I mean, it's
he
bad.
brought one suit. He's just not ready. All right. Andrew, you're going to go first here. How much does God hate Cleveland? Johnny Football. Cleveland doesn't even get to celebrate for 24 hours before Josh Gordon is potentially suspended for the season.
It is absolutely unbelievable. I think that Johnny Football is going to hate Cleveland more than LeBron hated on Cleveland within the next 6 months.
Fair. That's not even that bold a prediction. I just feel like it's super accurate. Chad, how much does God hate Cleveland?
Dan Gilbert will send Johnny Manziel a strongly worded email in Comic Sans within the next 36 months.
That was the right answer, but for the sake of fairness and for the sake of the game, I'm giving it to Andrew, so it's 2-1 Chad.
I don't even think I like this game.
I don't think I like it either, but we're trying it. So, we're trying out things. This is an experimental vlog. Playoff MVP so far. We've seen about halfway through the second round. Who you give the MVP to, most outstanding performance so far? Chad Floyd, you got to go first.
As far as exceeding expectations, I got to give it to Damian Lillard, which
Go ahead with the man who's down 0-2 right now. Interesting decision.
yeah, well, that there's that issue. But put me on the spot here. Chris Paul.
Chris Paul, Damian Lillard. All right.
Well, Chris Paul, I mean, dealing with the Sterling situation and then just dragging the Clippers to the game one win. I'm going Chris Paul.
CP3 gets the nod. Andrew Hall, who you got?
I mean, I feel like Chad not only stole my pick in Chris Paul, but also led by taking another guy.
He just boxed out.
So I'm not even gonna try to beat him. I'm saying Chris Paul as well.
All right. Well, I guess that would give the lightning round to Chad. I guess that's 3-1 Chad. But I want to hear before we go. Last thing I told you guys before, so I was going to ask, what would your walk-up music have been? First of all, NFL. Hey, if we're going to advertise walk-up music and we're going to make it like a big thing and try to prove Goodell's not an automaton who's run by the owners, who's literally got a tiny Jerry Jones working the controls behind his face, that's fine. Let us hear the music on TV. Don't just pipe it into Radio City. Pipe it through the speakers. Pipe it through the broadcast so I can know and appropriately make fun of the draft songs that were picked. For the record, Deadspin posted a list. I'm going to read just some of the songs that were decided on. Odell Beckham came out The Sky's the Limit by Lil Wayne. Teddy Bridgewater came out to The World's Greatest by R. Kelly. Not the strongest pick in my behalf.
That is awesome.
The world's 32nd greatest.
As per my own admission on how much I hate Aloe Black and that song, I now officially hate Jadeveon Clowney for choosing that to come out to, although it's probably tied into like an endorsement deal, so I can't get mad about getting money. Of course, Manziel came out with that awful Drake song that name drops him. Khalil Mack blew it by coming out to Happy and not coming out to Return of the Mac.
I know, that was unbelievable.
It was just so teed up. Like, just hit it out of the park, Khalil. It's so easy. Knock it out. You'll be a hero forever. Chad Floyd, walk-up song. Chad Floyd, out of North Carolina, weighing in at 100 and what? Call it 70? 160? I don't know.
It's 155.
He plays safety. Chad Floyd, your first-round draft pick. What's your walk-up music? Chad, this is where
Just kidding. I have no idea.
You have no idea.
Yeah, honestly, I was trying to pull up the turn down for what button, and I didn't even think of an actual answer.
Yeah, you just stole my turn down for what button, too.
Yeah, God, white people.
They are all the same, apparently.
Let me think.
Just pick a song. This is not that serious. You're not actually getting drafted, Chad. I need to make that very clear. He sips his coffee.
He thinks.
This is riveting podcastery.
I know. This is great material.
Andrew Hall.
Yeah, let's go to Hall.
Jesus.
I already won the lightning round, man. That's all the cognitive ability I have for the day.
I mean, I think just out of like a sense of irony, I would go with something really slow and plodding in country. But I don't even have a specific. I just think it would be funny to really kill the mood with an intro song.
I think the only answer is Simple Man. You come out nice, walking slow. 70 beats per minute is the perfect walking pace. And I wanted to just say this for people on the pod, people who are listening and people who are watching right now. The email that went out 2 days ago said, have your personal draft song ready since I'm going to ask it. And Chad Hawing does not good podcastery make. On the downside,
I didn't read that email.
On the downside, it should also be noted that he ended the email with saying, who's in for the roundup, and nobody replied. But here we are.
The upside is I, again, was right. Thanks for listening to the roundup. Thanks for watching us. I apologize for myself and Chad. I don't want to hear a song now. I don't care.
No. We got to talk about Shaq Wiggins.
Oh, God. Here we go. You do this one. You know more about this.
All right. Shaq Wiggins, Georgia cornerback, started 8 games as a true freshman last year. Chad, what are your thoughts on Wiggins as a player?
He kept us in the Vanderbilt game with the pick 6 on the screen. I thought he was the best young corner we had. I thought he was the best corner we had, honestly, because I am not a Damian Swan fan as one Andrew Hall is.
Well, he lost me last year, too.
Yeah, that's good. We got to watch that slant route against Clemson every time his name came up. But, man, that's just a Georgia offseason, isn't it? I hadn't been a Georgia fan for that long, but that's just a Georgia offseason.
So I hated it. I mean, this morning, of course, Georgia fans now think Swan's the reason our secondary was so weak Wiggins is the reason our secondary was so weak last year. But it's like he was the only cornerback that came out and played with any semblance of aggression. He kind of seemed like a guy that didn't really care too much about Grantham's schemes and that he was just going to stay in front of the guy.
It's not a good sign for a DB. I don't care what you're saying.
But at the same time, he'd be the only guy like routinely near someone that was catching the ball.
You're right.
But he released a statement. Palmer, have you read his statement by any chance?
I haven't, and I want to just say one thing before we get into the statement. Chad, this is not typical Georgia offseason because he wasn't arrested.
That's right.
If he was arrested, then you could tag it to typical Georgia-ing. But as someone just transferring, this is a little new. Go ahead, Andy.
And to be fair, my first assumption, given the timing of it, was it must have been something academic. You know, he failed some classes, finals just finished, but he put out a statement. This is a real statement for the record. First of all, the University of Georgia is a great school, and I would like to thank Coach Richt and his staff for the opportunity to play at Georgia. Good enough. When you are new to an organization, it's extremely important to have the right fit. I love football and want to reach my highest potential. Therefore, after careful thought and much consideration, I believe that it's in my best interest for both parties to part ways. So, right now, very generic. He goes on. I am looking for a team who will embrace my personality. Someone who is jovial, carefree, and a bit of a jokester, but who knows when to put jokes aside, get focused, and become a true competitor, especially when on the field.
So he's going to South Carolina. He's going to play for Hayden-ass Spurrier.
For the record,
I want to learn, and I want someone who can channel my energy and enthusiasm to take my game to the next level. So basically,
I hadn't heard this. Is this a statement on his leaving, or is it a Match.com profile?
Exactly. It reads like, you know, if we could add some long walks on the beach, maybe someone who enjoys nature, I think we're really going to find a good fit for Shaq. But I need to know a few more things about his personality. Like, how much is he?
I've never heard the word jovial used in a football sense.
Or jokester.
It shouldn't be used in a football sense. It shouldn't. Oh, all right. So I haven't heard.
I think he just killed his chances of transferring, though, because if you're a big-time program coach, like you're not Nick Saban saying, "Oh, this guy likes to have a good time." I mean, he can strap it on the football field, but he's a real jokester. Let's go get him.
I don't
You're
think.
not doing that.
I think that any coach looking at him is looking at the tape as opposed to looking at this statement. I hope so, at least. This statement is like like before you told me this had happened before we started recording. And I was like, I don't want to know. I want to hear it live on the pod. These are my live, actual thoughts happening. Is that he's made a massive miscalculation as far as the talent around him and the guy he's going to be playing for and Pruitt. It's evidence at FSU. But at the same time, hey man, if you're not on board, you're off board. He's officially dead to me. Officially, I don't care about Shaq Wiggins anymore.
He's a jokester.
Hey man, if they're casting for the new Batman, they need a replacement Joker for Heath Ledger. Apparently, Shaq Wiggins is your guy, but he's apparently not a Georgia football player, which means he's dead to me. I'm done with him.
I watched two undersized Florida State DBs get drafted in the third round last night. Apparently, they were not jokesters. Apparently, they took their craft seriously.
The only upside of this happening is the same reason the only upside of Mark Jackson getting fired. The leaks that come out after this of what actually happened are going to be hilarious.
Shaq Wiggins to Louisville.
He will be. He will be. I guarantee it.
Bobby Petrino's a jokester. Have you ever heard about that time he was on a motorcycle?
Yes.
Todd Grantham was a jokester. Think about the time that his team was going to get better last year. All right, I'm done. We're done. Thanks for checking out DYP Podcast. I can say that we added a viewer while we were recording. Very impressive. If you're watching this, God bless you. Happy Mother's Day to everyone out there who's a mother that applies to. We'll be back later this week with episode 50. The big 50.
We're going to get 50 guests on.
That's not going to happen. But next week's roundup will be live again. I'll be tweeting out the link earlier. It'll be from me at Hangout Fest, so it'll be a real crapshoot to see how it goes.
Let's just get the inside of Palmer's ear next week.
We'll take bets on if it actually happens. Thanks for checking out DYP Podcast. Always you can check us out at DudeYouCrazy.net. On Twitter, Andrew's at DudeYouCrazy, Chad's at Chad_Floyd. I'm at DPalm66, and we'll see you guys next time.